So, what's going on in this story where Jesus holds up a coin? The Pharisees are at it again. Well, they start out seeming like they're trying to get on Jesus' good side. Teacher, we know that you are a truthful man, and so forth. But Jesus knows this is really all about the push and pull between him and the Pharisees and the Herodians. It's all through the gospel, and these are tensions that eventually lead to Jesus' arrest, torture, death, resurrection. Tensions that are somehow in God's plan, because the story does not end with death, but with our salvation. Now, the Gospel of Matthew says they were plotting how they might entrap Jesus. But actually, when you look at the question, it's the type of question you might bring to an interesting new teacher, hoping for a new insight, a new resolution of this tension between temple and state. Jesus uses this opportunity to teach some deeper truths. So, he holds up a coin. Whose picture? Whose inscription? We have little idea how this would have affected the Jews Jesus was speaking to. Who's on our coins? George Washington, for one, a revered founder, but safely long dead. Ancient Israel was oppressed, occupied by the Roman army. And the coinage was a daily reminder of oppression and punishing taxes. Caesar also coerced subjects to recognize his power. Caesar pretended to be godlike and supreme. His image was everywhere, kind of like it was in Mao's China or Castro's Cuba or today's North Korea. Images of Caesar seemed to be everywhere. He was feared and hated by Jews who had their own sensibilities, who mourned their loss of independence, and were very offended by Caesar's claims of divinity. The Roman coin, Caesar's image, a graven image. Well, he pretended to be divine. And a warning against graven images is strongly expressed in the Ten Commandments. But the Pharisees, they're building up fear as well. Fear of Jesus. That's rather hard for me to imagine because I love and trust the Lord. But the leaders of the Jewish people at the time were threatened by his growing influence and authority, his growing following. And of course, they are put off by the parables in which they are seen in a poor light. You may remember last week's parable about those nasty people in the vineyard. And the text takes time out to note that the scribes and Pharisees knew he was talking about them. So, they present a Roman coin with Caesar's image and a testy question. It's a trap. Should loyal Jews pay the temple tax? Is your allegiance, Jesus, to Caesar? If it is, you're in a lot of trouble with your people. Is your main allegiance to God, the King of Heaven, you could be in a lot of trouble with Caesar's people. So where are Jesus' allegiances? Jesus' response, show me the coin. Now, they come up with one right away. Pharisees, you are so busted. You are in the temple area. What are you doing with a pagan coin, with a graven image? You can't use Roman coins in the temple. That's why there were money changers. So what are they doing with the hated coin? People will wonder, oh, Pharisees, they pay Roman taxes, huh? So holding up the coin, Jesus reveals their malice, and he avoids the trap. But there's something more here. Whose image? It seems like he's holding up a mirror in front of the Pharisees. Do you see your hard-heartedness? Do you see the ways that you feel afraid and threatened? Do you see your malice? But image. There's something else Jesus holds up just by being himself. The image of God. As St. Paul tells us in his letters, Jesus is the image of the invisible God. God incarnate, in fact. And more. As we hear the parable and contemplate the mystery of Jesus being truly human and truly divine, the mirror shifts to us in this story. Where are our allegiances? Have we forgotten that we are created in the image and likeness of God, and that we rightfully belong not to Caesar, and not even really to ourselves, but to God who created us and redeemed us by the precious blood of his Son? As St. Paul says, we are to present our bodies as a living sacrifice to God. So this question about the temple tax. Well, today's questions. What's the balance of our loyalty to God and our loyalties to legitimate civil authorities? When considering these questions, do you acknowledge that all you have and all you are belongs to God? Do you acknowledge that the world belongs not to one nation or even all the nations of the world, but in the end, it belongs to God. It was created by God. That's the real challenge in Jesus' response. That's what undergirds it. It all belongs to God. So, when a mirror is put before you, what do you see? The malice of the Pharisees? A divided heart? Or the image of God, Christ living in you? Do you study, party, forgive, spend money, vote like someone who belongs to God? When considering the issues of the day and judging what you owe to Caesar and to God, do you remember that truth that all in the end belongs to God? And do you remember who you are, made in God's image, and who God is in your life, in your heart? How do you live this question?